Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. And as you can tell, we are back here at Cleo's Hermit Zoo in the Cubfan exhibit. Now, we have been brainstorming a little bit what we want to do to celebrate our good friend Cub, and I came up with the idea of a Nile minigame, which right now I'm going to call the Nile. And it is a Setet-based archery game. Of course, Setet was the Egyptian goddess who was in charge of bows and arrows, and also keeping the Nile from overflooding, and also underflooding. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a bunch of targets here that when they are hit will, hold on. I'm actually curious. Can I just, throw an arrow at the target? Okay. Well, that didn't work. So I guess I would have to get a bow out of the thing, or directly hit it with the ender pearl. So, boom, ender pearl worked. So, core concept, at the beginning of the game, the flood will start, and then you'll have to try to prevent the Nile from overflooding. There will be a timer that I'm setting up here that will start running at the same time, and the timer is just a real simple thing. We had a bunch of extra jungle leaves from, all the jungle wood here collected, and so then at the end of the game, when you have successfully stop the Nile from overflowing its banks beyond your intent, the timer will cut out, and you'll take the number of leaves here to get your score. And, because we were like, what would be good Pharaoh stuff? We had, scorpions and snake pits. So I was like, well, what if we had a scorpion pit? Or a score pit? You can just go put your sign on a score. Oh, I'm going to have to change that so it says go put your score on a sign down there or whatever. This is a very rough first draft of this concept. What I want to do is expand this out so we've got at least 5 of these different targets here. And then we're going to use one of the classic Etho boat sensors to detect the water level. Now, if you've never seen an Etho boat sensor, I think y'all will really enjoy this. But I can't put that in until I get the other things set up. So I'm going to get on all that now. And then, once I am all wrapped up with getting the game built and functioning, Cleo is going to come in here with and create kind of a pyramid scene with all of the armor stands and visual elements that you would expect from a Zombie Cleo build. So we are going to do a little bit of function here so she can do a little bit of form. Anyway, here we go. Time skip. Here it is, folks, the old-school Etho water detector method with a boat. What you would do, this was 8 years ago Etho came up with this roughly. You put a boat on some pressure plates, and then when you add water, like so, the boat will lift up. And unfortunately, they changed the game in the last 8 years, so boats work differently, and the boat doesn't lift up off the pressure plates anymore. So we need a new method. I thought about using an observer, but the problem is the observer fires every time the water level changes at all. Whoops. Let me just try and trigger this again. So you see that triggered 5 times there. So what we might need to do is to try to move an armor stand with water. Oh, there's a wandering trader here. I was not expecting that. I'm the only person on the server, and then all of a sudden there's motion. And I'm like, what? Why motion? Got anything good for me, or Wandering Trader? Hypno, Impulse, Isuma, Assassin. All sorts of fancy stuff. My. Now, it's a shame there's no little target blocks, but, that's fine. We'll be fine. So, ore concept, we want to have 5 of these dispensers with buckets acting as water flow things, and the river itself would feel like a giant ore gate, where if any of the dispensers are dispensing water, the water would flow through the river to a single point where we would detect the water, at which point the game would know it is still running. When the water is no longer detected coming through that hole at the bottom of the river, then it knows to turn off the counter, which we just turned on. But core concept, you get it. So let's go build this out. Time skip.
All right, we're here with Joe Hills now. Hello, Joe Hills. How's it going?
Doing most excellently, Cub fan. This is quite the vertical contraption you have contrived.
It is, yeah. It's called Cast Masters.
Ooh.
As in, you have to cast and try and fish your opponent a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
There we go. There we go. Gotcha. Oh, you got me too. So, let me explain to you how this works, Joe, and to the viewers out there. So, basically, what you do, we'll each pick a side. Like, I'll pick this left side, you pick the right side, or vice versa.
Uh-huh.
And we have to aim toward the targets and cast our bobber onto the target block itself
Okay.
to make it go up like that. Which is kind of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hit it pretty much like dead center.
Okay.
And you want to sort of like keep even with the target as you go up the ladder like this a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Like this. And then you can also, of course, fish over your opponent like this a
Oh,
little
yes.
bit.
That's always fun.
Yeah. To mess them up. Yeah. So, yeah, you gotta sort of balance aiming for the target and then fishing your opponent. And the first person to reach the very top wins with the lamps.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. There's one. There's two.
Interesting. So you can pull it back, like, when it's mid-cast if you can tell it's not going the way you need it to.
Yeah, you do have to, like, let it, like, sort of settle on the target block a little bit, too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing that
yeah.
now. And now I'm getting tugged.
Hold on. Come on. Get the...
It's like, I'm pretty sure I'm hitting it, but it's like, from this angle, it's hard to tell. So do you use comparators compared to, like, redstone torches or something nearby to get these to be
This is observers, mostly. Observers and droppers, pretty much. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay. Getting up there. Still got a long ways to go, though. Fishing you. Yes. No. Please, Joe.
I'm worried I'm gonna hit something like... Okay. I think I got too far. There we go.
Oh.
It's probably easier from head on.
Fish him. Oh, there goes a fishing rod.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Pick another one up out of the chest.
You just threw me way up in the air on the backside of the thing.
Did I?
Yeah, I was still hooked on you, and you, I opened the chest and all of a sudden get hurled upward. I'm like, well, that's an interesting choice. How did he do that?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm getting there. Still coming up. It can be kind of tough to like shift and stuff at the same time.
Yeah. It's, I almost never play mini games with the fishing rods, so like this is the sort of thing like I'd have to practice at this.
Yeah. Got the top one, maybe? Can I hit the top one? There we go. Okay. That's the game.
GG, Cub.
GG.
Good game. Well played. Well built. I'm not sure.
Indeed.
It's so
what
compact. I'm thinking about how it works.
Oh, yeah. I can open it up and show you a little bit.
Is there a door? Do you mind?
Oh, there's not really a door. We can just make a door, though.
Okay.
So if I open... I don't even know if we'll be able to see this from in here. Well, there's some of it, I guess. Yeah, there's not really much to see in here, I guess. There's some redstone you can see. Basically, it works this... if you look at inside that dropper there, there's an item there. And then whenever you hit the target, it moves up by 1.
Interesting.
And then that's basically how we control the circuitry.
Oh, so the dropper is facing upward into the next layer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it goes like 1 layer at a time, basically.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't really see too much. And then basically there's a reset here as well. There's like observers in the back that reset everything.
And those just use the hoppers to pull it all back down to the bottom.
Yeah. And so it recycles it back down to the start. So it'll fire all of them here, all of them click, and then it comes back down.
Very cool.
So yeah, there you go. there you have it. I'm gonna hop up here, put this back down here on the second layer.
Yeah, thank you for showing me this.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm still learning how to use comparators today. That's kind of been my thing with that new snapshot.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Did you see the skulk sensor? You're playing around with that a little bit?
Yeah, because it's got the different signal with, they call it frequency if you run it through the comparator versus the strength if you just have it run into the wire. So
oh yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
that's gonna be fun for mini games. It's like I've started getting all these ideas for season 8 already, but I got to learn the fundamentals first, too.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Well, thanks for stopping by, Joe. I want to also test out this one time here.
Sure.
I want to see how far you can get launched up.
Yeah, let's find out.
I'm just curious. So this is the very top. Wow.
Howdy. Whoops.
That's awesome. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for testing that out with me. Yeah, that was pretty fun, I think.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. The Colosseum touches the sky, but meanwhile, my I've been scratching my head. Redstone has changed so much since the last time I was super serious about it, y'all. Like, it is crazy. They added repeaters and pistons and a bunch of other stuff. So, like, I was trying to learn how you do a memory cell these days using all this new stuff, newfangled stuff. Now, what this memory cell will let me do is, this is called like a T flip-flop or a toggle flip-flop, where I could have a brief pulse, and then that will flip the output of this circuit here. And the way it does that is by temporarily removing the lock on this repeater here. That's represented by the bedrock there. So watch, we hit this button, it goes through the inverter, which then releases this lock. The signal travels straight through at that point and changes that, which then relocks when the signal ends. Now here's the problem, though, is this particular type of toggle is not 100% reliable. Sometimes because of the timing on the button or different things like that in the game, it just doesn't perfectly work. So I started to look into more reliable designs, and I found one that is a lot. It's basically, it's similar in that you would have like basically your input going into here. You have a torch, but then we also have a signal going straight through. And so we have the inverse signal and the signal side by side on these two repeaters. And when you power this block here, which I could do like just by hitting, well, that button doesn't do it. Hitting this button, you see it alternates which of these two repeaters there is locked. And depending on which of the two repeaters is locked, the switch is, the light is either on or off, the output, which indicates the memory cell's memory. And so what I was thinking was, we need a memory cell like this so we can keep track of whether or not the game has started, so we know basically whether or not the timer should be counting. And then I was like, oh, so I'm going to have a button that starts the game, but then I also need to take the output signal and shorten it to trigger all the dispensers. So I made one of these, which is a pulse limiter. This will shorten a signal that's steady into a single pulse, because when the redstone goes through this wire here from the lever, the sand will go up after first carrying temporarily a little bit of a redstone signal through. Watch. So keep an eye on that block there. See, so that only gets the rising edge of the signal, which means like the beginning of the signal. There you go. This is I thought, a great step for my engineering knowledge, but as I built all this out to connect to the button that starts the game, I started to realize things like, wait, if I have a button that starts the game, I don't need to build a pulse limiter coming out of our game started memory cell. I could just conduct the energy from the button originally down a separate path, and then have that run up here to where our dispensers will be. And so, I thought, okay, I'll have this whole wall of dispensers with the water that floods into this pool here, and when the water is flooding into the pool, then the armor stand here will flow and intersect with this tripwire. And then when you beat the game by shooting all the targets, the armor stand will flow back. And then the, we could use a redstone inverter to send a message from here to the timing clock, letting it know to stop running. Or actually via, we would send it to the memory cell to say the game is over, and then that would send a message to the hopper clock, which is our score generator, to let it stop running. What I did not realize is basically I've over-engineered every part of this. This little guy in the water here can be the game state memory cell, okay? In fact, he's going to be a super extra handsome one. So we'll just run down here and pop this on like so. Well, he's facing the wrong way now. There's only so much we can do about that. Can I take that off? I was going to say, it doesn't matter which way I face, I guess, when I place it on him, because it's which way the armor stand faces. We'll worry about that later. But anyway, basically, this entire memory cell back here is now redundant. We don't need any of this because we can just have the detector for the game state be the memory of if the game's running or not, and then have that running or not running to the hopper as is. We actually have, by starting and stopping the game when the water flows or when the water stops, bypass the need for all this. So I'm going to rip all this out and kind of make another pass at it. Here we go. Time skip. Well, folks, we are back, and I ripped out all that pesky redstone I was telling you about. Let me switch our view here, and I'll show you what we got. We have a button. It's already a pulse. When it triggers, it's going to go down this line here and send a pulse through this system, which is temporary scaffolded. We're not going to keep the decked out look. Don't worry. This is just for me temporarily. It's going to feed a redstone pulse into each of the dispensers, and they will start dropping water. Well, for the most part. This dispenser here is not going to drop water. I've realized we could put in some decoy dispensers, where if you shoot them... Oh no, I don't have any arrows. Let's grab an arrow. Dang it. So, this dispenser here is a decoy dispenser. So it doesn't actually dispense water, it dispenses arrows, which is just kind of a funny thing for the people. Now, the thing is, I made a point of putting some of these dispensers adjacent to each other. So, like, trying to hit that one, you might turn off that one there. Okay, you actually did. Well, no, maybe not. Oh, that's going to power more than one, too. So it's got a lights out element to it. It's got a few other things, like these two, you can't tell if they're on or off easily because this one up here. Now, if I just shoot this, unfortunately, that's connected to a piston. We have to hit the button to extend the piston to drop the water. And these lights over here indicate whether the game's running or not. As you can see, our score so far is 2.5 stacks. But once the water runs all the way down, that Cubfan model there is going to move, which is going to trigger these lights to go off, and the barrels here will stop counting. So, now that we have established all the core logic of everything we're going to do, we need to go replace the nether brick with chiseled sandstone, at least in the above ground elements, and I'm going to reshuffle these. We have proof of concept for how these things interact with each other in a way that I find amusing, but let's go ahead and get it built out and get it ready for Cleo to decorate in her episode. Time skip. Here it is, folks. Welcome to Satet's Nile Denial Trial. Use your bow to stop the flood, shoot the buttons and target blocks, and record your score in the scorpion pit below. Now, the lower barrel here has already been emptied into this upper barrel. When we press this button, it'll go ahead and activate all of the water dispensers that are supposed to dispense water. And as you can see, Cubfan is now moved over there. Now, I noticed that one thing Cubfan likes to do is he likes to go ahead and record his best score on the scoreboards to encourage people to do the same. Like, so he'll go ahead and get a score that's like beatable. So I'm not trying to get a perfect score on this. I'm just trying to do okay. This is actually a little bit harder to see through than I was anticipating. But, like, maybe that's good. And that one, the target block is behind it. Did we get it? Maybe not. Okay, so that one's going down now. And as we go here, there we go. I got a little boat now. I thought that would be fun. Okay, so that's going down there. Then we hit this one, maybe? Okay, and then what's left? It's kind of a little bit of a puzzle game in some ways, trying to figure out which ones are on and which ones are off, because some of them start off, and you can turn them on, but you can't necessarily tell. And then once the water goes all the way down there, it's going to have our little cub fan move back there and lock the score. We had 2 stacks and 51. So, oh, you know what I should have done? Is I should have left a stack of signs in here. Luckily, our construction pit, or construction trailer, not everything's a pit. Some things are just pit adjacent. And Cleo, of course, will actually decorate the scorpion pit eventually. But here we go. We'll put all but one of these here. Boom. We can just take this birch sign and put 2 stacks plus 51 at Joe Hills. Done. Boom. That's awesome. Can we light it up? We can. Boom. It is getting lit in the scorpion pit. And I even brought ender pearls, so I'm not, like, trapped down here forever. That's always a great move. So, anyway, core concept. People can now start competing at this. We're going to let Cleo actually do the decorating before we bring Cubfan over here for a round. Even though he had me test his game, you know, I want to give him that full experience. You know, I don't want him to get to decked out, because he's going to have to walk past the decked out exhibit to get to his exhibit, you know? I don't want him seeing that decked out exhibit over there that's all the way done with all the little tangos in it and be like, what? Mate, how come Tango gets an exhibit with all the little running around armor stand blokes and I've just got this little sandy target thing? You know, that doesn't seem right, man. You know, and I don't want Cub to feel that way. So, you know, we're gonna let Cleo roll in here, decorate the pit, decorate the backdrop. We technically have a path behind the back of this, but what I'm gonna do, whoops, maybe not that part. I was going to, no, I have so little health as it is. No, now I'm on fire. And it's getting dark. How has this gotten so stupid so fast? Okay, that's broadly unacceptable. And I can't rest now because of the baby Enderman thing. Are you kidding? Oh no. Okay. Well, luckily there's not a monster nearby that bed. Take that, baby Enderman thing. Of course I take some collision damage, but that's fine. I can handle it. I'm not a small child. I'm an adult, mature professional. Okay. So we can refill that. What I was going to say, though, is I think we'll remove this back sidewalk here, because this is the outside of the zoo. So that way Cleo has more freedom. Okay, no. I said to leave me alone. So that way Cleo has more freedom to really put in some sort of spectacular backdrop overhanging all of this. So we'll just gently remove all of these remaining jungle woods here, like so. Do-do-do-do. Awesome. I'm sure that this will look amazing when Cleo is done, and it is a huge relief that it doesn't up to me to get it looking that great. So, there we go. That is a playable game for Cubfan. The Nile Denial Trial. Anyway, you may have noticed 2 things about this episode. First off, it was pre-roll ad-free, thanks to Patreon sponsor Take V. And further, it was mid-roll ad-free, thanks to Patreon sponsor Winnie T. Ford. So, in lieu of that mid-roll ad, I will now read a poem of my own devising. I call this one Younger with Distance. Aspire like the stars to radiate across the void and hit something in every direction. Eventually. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.